Hey guys, it's great to see you. Today I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know on how to install the new Sol 2.1, what you need, how to uninstall the original Sol, how to reinstall this version of Sol, what to look for and change in Content Manager, and what does it look like. All of the gameplay footage you can see today on this video is running Sol 2.1 and also CSP 1.75 preview, and if you've not seen that yet, do check out the other videos on my channel. Okay guys, let's jump right in. Let's start right at the beginning then. To do what you need to do in this video today, you do need Content Manager. Now don't worry, all the links are in the description below, and if you're new to Assetto Corsa, this Content Manager is absolutely brilliant for all your mods that you're going to install. So the first thing to do is to download this if you've not got it yet. If you have got it, that's absolutely great. Now if you are going to download it, there's two versions. There is a light version that does almost everything you will need, and that will work fine for what we're doing today. Or there is a paid for version. It's a few dollars, it's a one-off payment, definitely worth getting. The next thing you're going to need is Custom Shaders Patch, or CSP. So if you're new to the Assetto Corsa world, you will hear CSP talked about a lot. So this is by Ilya. It's absolutely fantastic, and it adds all the graphical bells and whistles to Assetto Corsa and brings it up to date. To run the gameplay that we're running today and to run Sol 2.1, you need at least 1.69. It's very easy to install. You just click on the link and you download it, and you will drag and drop it into Content Manager. If you don't know how to do that, then do check out the other videos on my channel. The next and final piece you need is obviously Sol 2.1. So I've just put Peter's homepage here on Race Department, so I will put the links in the description below. You're either going to go to Race Department to get the full 2.1 version. If you're on one of the later beta versions, you can get that from his Discord, and I will drop the link in the description also. Once you've downloaded Sol 2.1, then you will have a WinRAR file or a 7-zip file. Now all I'm going to do here is just extract it. Now it's on my desktop, yours might be in a download folder, so just drag it onto your desktop and double click it. What we're going to do is just extract that onto the desktop so we can work on that. Now do remember guys, this is a manual install of Sol 2.1. You do not use Content Manager, it has to be a manual install. So I'm just going to talk you through that step by step. Now that we have the folder on the desktop, let's have a look through it. So as you can see, it's called Mods, and then inside that Mods folder you have got a number of different things. The first folder, Sol 2.1, that is the main program that we're going to install, and we're actually going to drag and drop that into the main Assetto Corsa directory. The other piece that we're going to take out of that is an uninstall.bat, which uninstalls the old version, and that's really important we do that in a good way. Also within this area we've also got a number of different guides. Now all I'm going to do is talk you through most of these guides in this video, but they are here for reference as well. So that was a custom config guide that I just opened here. This is the Sol 2.1 install guide. So once you've watched the video, if you've got any questions or you need any other details, then this is a good place to go just to check those out. Also within this we've got a Sol config 2.0 PDF. This actually tells you all about the config app, and I will be putting separate videos about all these different areas as I have done with Sol 2.0, so do keep checking on the channel. One of my favourite pieces here that I did change in Sol 2.0 is the sky colour. So there's so many different things in here that are really going to bring Assetto Corsa to life how you want it to look. Then the last thing, and this is a real biggie, this is the Sol Planner 1.0. Now I'm only covering this in a very light way in this video just to show you basically how it works, the top level piece, but as you can see here there is so many things you can do, and I'm really excited to get my teeth into this and to put some more videos out about Sol 2.1 and how to get the best out of it. Okay then, now that we've just looked through the files, as I said, we need this Sol uninstall.bat. So this is going to run and actually uninstall the old version of Sol. So all we're going to do, we're going to copy that, and I'm just going to paste it onto my desktop so I've got it where I need it there. And then I'm going to actually drop it into the main Assetto Corsa directory. Here we are then, I've actually dropped this file into Steam Apps, Comment and Assetto Corsa, so just double check where that is on your hard drive. And what I'm actually going to do is try and run this as administrator to begin with. Now that's what actually Peter says is the best thing to do. Now on my computer, the way my computer's configured, it doesn't like that at all. So if that doesn't work, just actually double click it. So let's just try double clicking it. And as you can see, it says there, do you want to uninstall it? So you're just going to press yes there. So I would always try and uninstall it with administrator right. So just right click and run as administrator and do it that way. If that's not going to work, just run it the way I have, the standard way, but always try and right click and run it as administrator. Okay then, so that's actually done its magic and taken the old Sol 2.0.2 out. So what we're going to do now is actually drag and drop these new files in there. So as I said at the beginning of the video, this has to be done in a manual way. So we're just going to go into the Sol 2.1 folder at the top there. And as you can see at the top there, I've got all of my files that I need to move over. I'm actually going to drag over the top 5 files. So I'm just going to highlight them as per normal and just drag and drop them into the Assetto Corsa folder. Do make sure that, as you can see on the left hand page here, this is my main Assetto Corsa folder, that you've got apps, content, etc. there. That means it's your root folder. So I'm just going to copy those over, and actually no overwriting because I've removed the old version of Sol, and that's all done. So that's Sol installed now. Just to double check, I'm just going to check into one of the folders here. So I'm just going to go into apps and Python. Now we know that there's actually a new Sol planner in this version of Sol, and as you can see, Sol planner is there at the bottom. So I know that is actually installed and copied over fine. Now that we've installed the files, the next place to go is Content Manager. So here we are, we're in Settings, we're in Custom Shaders Patch, and we're in Weather Effects. This is really important, this piece. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. The first thing is the weather script we need to have on the correct one. So as you can see here, I've got a number of different weather scripts installed, and what we need to do is put it into the 2.1 weather script. That's the correct one. That's what we've just installed. On the actual controller script, there are 2 ways you can go. You can keep your version 2, or do what I'm going to do to run the new planner and actually put 2.1. I would advise using the new 2.1 controller script to begin with. Okay, then the next place to go is Settings, Assetto Corsa and Apps. And what we need to do here is make sure that you've got the right actual apps ticked. Now I get a lot of questions about this, so if you don't do this, they won't come up on the sidebar on the right hand side. So as you can see, I'm just going through and checking these, but the new Sol planner here doesn't have a tick next to it because it's not been run before. So if I wasn't to put that tick in there, it wouldn't come up on my sidebar in the drive menu when I'm in game. So always make sure that they are all completed. The next place to go then is to make sure we've got the right PP filter on, because this is the first time I'm going to be running this after the new install. So here you can see on the filter I've got Sol Extra installed and actually highlighted. That's probably from the previous version that I was running. But at the bottom here you've got a number of different Sol PP filters. I'm going to have a lot of fun experimenting with these. I've not checked them out yet, but do make sure you're on one of the main Sol PP filter or Sol Extra. I'm just going to leave it on Sol Extra there. There are still a few more things to check before we start up for the first time. Now I'm in Settings, Custom Shader Patch again, and I'm in Track Configs. Now some of the tracks and cars, I know I've had questions where people have had different glitches, different things happening, and it feels like that they're not getting the best performance. These 3 dots here that I've just clicked on at the top, make sure that Install Automatically is clicked there. That's the same for Track Configs, Tracks VAO, and also Cars VAO. This will mean that all the cars and tracks that you're using on the game with all the different config files and mods that you're running will always download the latest versions and make sure that those glitches are kept to a minimum. So it's always worth doing. As you can see here, you can see the cars that have actually been driving and not driving, because all the cars that I've driven have got a yes next to them because they've updated automatically when I've actually run the game with that car or with that track. On to the next step then, and guys, we are nearly finished with Content Manager now, but we need to go into Settings, Content Manager and Drive, and what we're going to do is just look at these extended weather boxes here. The way that Sol 2.1 works means that none of these need to be ticked, so if they are ticked, just take those out. Now the very last thing we need to do before we click on that go button is to make sure that we're on the right version of CSP. So by clicking Settings, Custom Shader Patch and About, you will go to this page here, and I know most of you will have seen this before, but if you haven't, this currently active is really important. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'm using Preview 1.75, and that actually installs in a slightly different way. It's drag and drop. But if you wanted to click on any of these other CSP versions, it would actually install that version. So it's really important to understand that you need to be on 1.69 or above, and you can reinstall any of those current versions anytime that you want. But do remember, any preview version does need to be dragged and dropped into Content Manager. Right, it's time to look at the graphics. Let's take a look. And here we are then with the Porsche 918 Spider. This is from 2017, nearly 900 brake horsepower. It's a hybrid, so it's electric as well as petrol, but I think we all prefer the petrol part of it, and we'll see it running just here. Absolutely great. So this is running all the settings straight out of the box with Sol 2.1, CSP 1.75. It just looks really stunning with this PP filter. This is the Sol Extra. So there are lots of other PP filters. I can't wait to get my hands on them and give them a bit of a try. And do remember, guys, again with this guide, this is just the basics. This gets you up and running, but there are lots more things that you can change within the game. Now that we're fully installed and we've got the car on the track, let's take a look at what Sol 2.1 gives us. So the first piece, and this is the time and date piece, hasn't really changed, and as you can see there, you can just click on that and that brings it up exactly like it used to in the old Sol 2.0.2. Sol Config, this is Sol Config 2.0. This looks very different and it's got lots more features on it, and again I will be going through this in detail on one of my next videos, so do take a look out for that. One of the key areas here to draw your attention to though is this reset to defaults. If you do actually start to play with this config file and you're getting a bit of a mess or something's not right or the game's not running right, click on that reset to defaults. It's really important. Now the next thing to click on is the Sol Plan selector, which normally gives you all the different weather, but as you can see it's not letting us do that because remember we chose the 2.1 planner, but where is the 2.1 planner? It's not there. So if you click on all apps, remember we put a tick in that actual app. Sol Planner is there, you see, so we click on it, it comes up. It's so much better than the last version. Big shout out to Peter as ever on all of these videos for the amount of work that he's put into this, and Ilya for CSP, both of them doing an amazing job. So as you can see here, we've got lots of things that we can play about there, but how do we get the planner back up and pin it to the top? Now because we've actually used it now, if we scroll down to the bottom here, you will see that planner is actually at the bottom, so I can actually drag it all the way to the top and just drop it up there because we are actually going to be using that. The old Sol Plan selector I'm just going to take off there. I'm just going to unpin it, so you can just press the cross next to it and it unpins it. It's not deleted the app, it's still on there, it's just deselected it from that pinned part at the top. Okay, let's take the car to somewhere where we can check out the weather. Here we are then with this great vista on Laguna at the top of the corkscrew. So I'm just going to go through some of the top level weather changes here. So as I click on them, you can see that actually they happen really instantaneous, which is a little bit different from the old version of Sol. I do definitely prefer this. So this version of Sol has improvement and bug fixes. It's got lots of improvements to the weather and clouds, as you can see as I look around. It's ultra realistic look to cloud shadows now. And there's a whole different way that the clouds are built spatially to give more realism. There's also the brand new weather planner, which we're just looking at now, which looks awesome, and I know that I'm going to have lots of fun showing videos on how you can get the best out of that. And there's lots of improvements as well in the Sol config piece that we saw earlier on, and I will have a walkthrough for that in future videos. Let's move on to this next section then, which is Haze, and we've got multiple versions of Haze that we can select here. So I'll just cycle through those so you can get a look and feel of that. Just on the graphics front, I'm not running anything too spectacular on this gameplay. It's a 1080 Ti, it's a ROG Strix, so probably 2 or 3 generations back now. So this just shows you what the new Sol and CSP actually make your graphics look like. So if you've got an older machine, do not worry, you will still be able to wring a decent amount of performance out of everything that you can see here. Just checking at the top here, we have got automatic wiper control on, so I think it's time then to have a look at some rain. Now remember, I am running CSP preview version. What that means is that there is external rain. You won't get this with the standard CSPs, so do drop onto Ilya's Patreon site, and again I'll drop the link in the description. The beauty of the last version of Sol and this current version of 2.1 is that you have got linked weather with the preview versions of CSP. So I've just pressed one button here to put heavy rain on, and as you can see it's using all of the different graphical effects. Really cool. Next, let's try the lightning. This is one of my favorite pieces of the old version of Sol. I've not tried it on this version yet, so let's see what that looks like. So the rain has stopped slightly, it's still very wet on the floor, and there you go, there's the lightning. You do need to remember though that this is a racing game. I know we're just looking at the weather, so these are all going to have a dramatic impact on how your race is going to be run. And of course with this new weather planner you can also speed up time and put multiple plans in place. I recently released a video on the channel that showed you how to do that in Sol 2.0.2, so check that out if that's the version that you're on. But if you are going to move over to Sol 2.1, I will show you this again in a future video. One thing to point out just as we go through these last few weather effects is that it is CSP that is generating the rain here, it is not Sol. I know Peter probably gets lots of questions every single day about Sol weather effects and rain, but this is actually CSP working with Sol. If you have got the standard version of CSP, you will still get rain effects of course, but it will be internally in the car. So when you're sat in the car looking out, you will see the rain. If you go to an external camera like I am here, you won't see the rain like this. Ilya and Peter continue to pull all of this amazing work together. So guys, do support them. It's a couple of dollars a month I think for the Patreon version of CSP 1.75, and if you've paid money for this game, this awesome game of Assetto Corsa, this is going to bring it to life. So do support Peter and Ilya where you can. As we watch this Porsche dry in the sun, which looks great by the way, let's just jump into the cockpit and I just want to show you something else. So this is obviously what it would look like internally with the rain on, but because I'm running CSP 1.75, one of the features, and again it's on one of my latest videos, is that you can actually get out and walk around the track. You can get out of the car. Can you believe that? So I know this is going to cause some great fun in future, and CSP 1.75 preview actually has a number of new modes that are absolutely new to Assetto Corsa, so again another reason just to support these guys. Let's just stop the rain then and just to see what happens inside the cockpit. So again we're going to go into the planner and we're just going to click on sunshine. The rain clouds miraculously disappear, the wipers slow down and the rain starts to stop, and as you can see the car will start to dry in the sun like we saw on the external shot, and as we can see here, I mean that just looks great. Can you believe this game came out in 2013/14? Absolutely stunning. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do apologise that the video is a little bit longer than I like to do, but there was just so much to pack in and I've only just scratched the surface of Sol 2.1. As ever, do check out the rest of the channel. There's so much more sim racing on there, and if you are new here, I'd love to have you on board, so do click on that subscribe button if you like what you see. See you soon, guys.